Hi, Tom Cooley, coach for Steve Taylor, community star. And I've got superstar Terry Crosby to my extreme left. And in the middle, we have a young lady that's done so much for our community. Denise Phillips. Her bookstore is called Gathering Volumes. If you have not been there, it's very esoteric. I mean, I love bookstores. My wife and I go to bookstores all the time. You know, some of the bigger ones at the malls, and they're fine.
Right.
But I love coming to Denise's bookstore because there's a coziness, there's a hominess, there's a good feel about that. And did you try to make it that way, Denise? Is that what you were going for?
Yes, well, and with the name Gathering Volumes, right? That was
Yeah,
always
yeah,
kind of
yes.
the thought was,
Yeah.
you know, we want the store to be a big hug, like when you walk in, like.
I like that'd be a great T-shirt for you.
Big hug.
Big hug, Gathering Volumes.
Right.
I kind of like that.
Now that we're done with the pandemic, right?
Yeah. Or you could go, don't hug me. Stay in your car, I'll throw the book to you out in the parking lot, and that way nobody gets sick, you know? You've been in the bookstore, Cross, you've been there many
absolutely.
times.
It's amazing.
It's a great vibe in there. It really is. And a sense of, gosh, you might get books that you wouldn't see at a lot of the other big chains. Is that also true?
Yes, that's also a big goal, right? So we support a lot of Ohio, Michigan, Indiana, you know,
Yeah.
what we consider local authors,
Yeah,
right?
right.
And you know, part of our goal is to introduce people to books they maybe aren't seeing elsewhere, right? That
Absolutely.
aren't the big books with all the publishing dollars behind them or all the publicity
Right, yes.
dollars behind them, right? Books that we just love and we want everybody else to love too. So
Absolutely.
I mean, it's just for me. You know, I've been to your bookstore several times, and every time I go, I just get a welcome feel.
Yes.
You know, you make everybody
Correct.
that walks through your doors feel welcome. I remember 3 or 4 years ago, the first time I came to your bookstore, I had one of your staff greet me and say, "How you doing today?"
Yeah.
with a big smile. And you typically don't get that in today's world. So your bookstore gives you such a welcoming feel. It really, really does. I felt that comfortable. You remember I said to you, "Is there any way I could rent this bookstore out? You know, I kind of want to live here." You know what I mean? But yeah, it's such a, and never change that because people feel
Yeah.
so welcome when they come.
And Cross, that's so well said. And look what Denise has done for local art authors.
Yes.
You know, she has given people book signing opportunities that they wouldn't have had. You know, she's great at setting them up and doing them. And you know, you've done with us
Right.
working together a couple of times, and it was marvelous. She's just great at it. And again, the local authors get an opportunity to put their wares out there, and it's very, very nice.
And you know what, Tom? That is such a valid point because that is so important as a local author myself to have somebody recognize
Yes.
and put your book kind of to the front. You know what I mean?
Forward facing.
In support of local authors.
Yeah.
You know, that's very, very important.
That's a big deal.
Yeah, absolutely.
Talk a little bit, Denise, of the philosophy of running a bookstore, because, and I could be wrong about this, but I thought I understood that a while back, bookstores were on the way out. And then
they're coming
suddenly, I've been reading in papers across the country, bookstores are making a major comeback.
Yes.
And people want their books. Is that true? Is that where it's going?
Yeah, so I think so, right? Like that's why you jump in and do something, right?
Yeah.
So there are definitely a lot of bookstores opening right now.
Okay.
So a lot of people are feeling like it's the right time and they're opening bookstores. Even Barnes & Noble is opening a lot of new bookstores this year. So that feel is there, if that makes sense. I am a little bit of, I'm not a risk taker, right? So my thought is, well, let's wait 3 years and see how many
Where
of
it
us
goes.
are still
Yeah,
here, right?
yeah.
But I do think, and I think people are also valuing local businesses in general more and starting to realize
Right.
there's a lot of empty storefronts, even
Right.
in communities that have
Yeah.
the money to keep storefronts full,
And
right?
that's Steve Taylor's mantra about buy local. We're local, buy
Yeah.
local.
Right.
Yeah.
right.
So I think people are starting to feel like if I want to keep my community a unique community with unique shops,
Yes.
and that I have to support them, right? So I think there's kind of two waves coming in. There's the reading coming in, right? More
Okay.
people reading.
Yep.
The romantasy genre has
Yes.
just
Ooh.
just exploded. promoted, right? So there's
Yeah.
more people. I do believe there's more people reading and more people coming in looking for books. But I also think there's also this extended. We need to support our local community, or we're going to lose it. So I think we're in a great position right now. We got 2 positives.
Call me crazy on this, Denise, but going like to your store, but I liken it to a treasure hunter. I know the big bookstores have the top,
Yeah. Best
40
sellers.
release,
Right,
blah, blah,
right.
blah, blah, blah. And there's nothing wrong with that. But I like to go into the smaller local bookstores because I just have a feeling I'm gonna find something that I never saw, I should have read, and the major stores aren't gonna have it. And do you get people that have those kind of feelings?
Oh, for sure. And people who will be like, I've read Frida McFadden.
Yeah.
I've read
everything. I've read everything.
I've read
Yeah,
Rebecca
yeah, yeah,
Yarros. Like,
yeah.
what do you recommend? So
Yeah.
that's something that I feel like independent bookstores are more. We're better at being able to say, listen, have you tried this author? And especially, like, hey, this one's set in Ohio. Like, how cool is that?
Right.
This book, it takes place in Cleveland or Cincinnati or Toledo.
Right.
Being able to kind of give you something that's more community related too.
Right.
So yeah, I think if I weren't able to do that, then
Yeah,
why even have
but
a
that's
local
why you're a
bookstore, right?
professional.
Why not just go work at
And your
bookstore?
heart is in books. I mean, that's
Yeah.
you have a passion for it. What's hot now at your store? Do you have some things? that you
So
do?
I mentioned Romantasy, right?
Okay, yeah.
I help run the Northwest Ohio Teen Book Festival. I'm on the committee for it. So the books I brought today are all YA books of
Okay.
authors who are going to be at Rossford Junior High on Saturday, March 15th for the book festival. So Cinda Williams-Chima is one of my favorites. People get sick of me recommending her. She's a YA
Okay.
author, but I've even gotten my husband to read her
And
books.
YA is young adult.
Yes, sorry, young
No,
adults.
the
So geared
acronym.
towards
Yeah,
teens,
yeah,
right? I've even got my husband to read her books. And she used to live in Ohio. She's from Ohio. I think her husband's family's still in Ohio. She now lives in North Carolina. In fact, she was very much affected by the flooding in North Carolina.
Okay.
She's in Asheville. So fantasy, her new series, Children of Ragnarok. So, getting a little into mythology. Her previous series starts with the Demon King, lots of magic, a little bit of romance, lots of magic. So I love her so much. Horror, I think, is the next big thing. Like, I think we've got
That's
romantasies
interesting.
going strong, but I think horror's coming back.
I want to fall in love and scare the hell out of me.
Exactly. I want to
I
fall
get
in
it.
love, and
We got it covered.
I'm really
Yeah, I got it
angry, so
covered.
I'm going to kill a few people.
Yeah, let's kill a few
Like,
people.
yeah.
Why not?
Yeah, I think we're in that time, right?
Okay.
Like, I think horror's coming back. So I love this new cover. This is Andrea Hanna's new book. She's coming to the book festival as well.
Okay.
But horror
What
and
are
Snow
those
White.
on the
It's
back?
Snow
Are they-
White.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
These are like vines.
Okay.
That's a cool- cover.
So that's like totally, I'm ready for this book right now.
Right.
Snow White horror book, like awesome. Mindy McGinnis is another Ohio author. She's actually was our keynote at our very first Northwest Ohio Teen Book
Okay.
Festival 4 years ago, and kids and students.
Wow.
Come back every year. Her line at the book festival is always out the door. They come back just to see her. She's an amazing speaker during the sessions. And her books are just really good, and she writes all kinds of genres. So she's got the dystopian, she's got some horror, she's got thriller. So she writes it all, and just love her and the
Now,
students.
is she
love
from
her.
Ohio as
She
well?
is, yep.
Oh, wow.
She is, and
Local
I'm gonna
author.
get the number wrong. 9th generation farmer. I'm
Okay.
probably got the generation
Yeah.
number wrong, but many generations of farming in her family, and she still lives on the farm.
Wow.
And then, sorry,
Oh no, I was just gonna say.
I can talk all day.
When you said YA, it just made me think of 2 things. First of all, kudos to Cross. His book, I think, was #1 in young adults for a period of time across the country,
Yeah, it
which
was. Yeah,
I think
blessed.
you still
I was
have a
blessed.
copy or 2
Yeah.
of Cross's book at your store. And then the other thing, I don't know if you've ever seen the Netflix show Friends from College. Have you seen the show?
I don't get any streaming service.
You don't get any. Well, if you ever get a chance to see it, the reason you would love it, it's about an author. They all went to college together, right?
Uh-huh.
You know, college relationships.
Right.
These people were tight.
Mhm.
Well, they never left their college relationships. So now they're in their 30s and they're still in the same city doing the same things, But one of the guys was a writer.
Right.
And he got some awards initially, and then he got talked into doing a young adult YA story, and it's pretty good. You'd like it.
Excellent. I'm
So, Friends from College.
Friends
is-
from
yeah,
College.
yeah, yeah.
Wow, that's
I just went back to Chicago and with my daughter who's a senior in high school, so she's looking
Yes.
at schools, right? But I got to see my best friend from high school and my best friend from college
Yes.
while I was there because they both live in Chicago. And it's amazing how you just get together and you're the same people.
You fall right
and
back
it doesn't
into
matter
the same.
what has happened in life, you are the same
That-
people.
Absolutely.
I don't know what
And
that is.
that's a good feeling too.
It is.
I don't know
It's
what the
wonderful.
psychology of that is, but
Right.
everybody falls back into the role that they provided for the group
Yeah.
Right.
in college or high school. You know, if they were the
Years-
clown,
years
then,
later.
you know, they could be a Xerox corporate exec.
Right.
But if they were the clown, then they become the clown.
Right.
And, you know, it's psychologically there's something there. I don't know what. But,
Yeah, but it's the best feeling because you're like, this
Yeah.
is comfort. Like this
yeah,
is
yeah.
what
And
I want.
I think the bookstores are stress relievers. You know, this is a tough time politically. You don't care
Right.
what side of anything you're on. I don't care if you're a druid and you worship trees.
We got books out there.
Yeah, Denise has it. If you're a true druid, come see Denise at Gathering Volumes, and we're gonna get this done. But it is a stress reliever. You know, you can look at your book and okay, forget about a lot of this stuff going on. So you're doing a great
Yeah,
service
100%.
to our community, and we appreciate you so much. You're a wonderful, positive force in our community.
There's one thing I wanted to ask you before we end. You know, I don't know what it is, Denise, but we've all kind of had our lifetime achievements. But it's just something about becoming a book author, right?
Yeah.
And that feeling of euphoria, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it just, I don't know, it just kind of took me over when I was finally finished with my book and it was published and it was out there.
Yeah, when you get that box
I
of
felt,
author copies. right?
yeah, I mean, what is that? I mean, you know, I guess I want to say, you know, we've all done things in our lives, but for me, that was one of the best feelings I've ever experienced in my life when I did
Yeah,
that.
well, and it's something you're gonna leave,
Right.
right, for everyone,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And so yeah, I am not a writer. I'm a
Right.
reader, like 100%. Like I will help sell anybody's book for them, but
Right, you.
I am not a writer.
Right.
I wrote a book, but it was you just spoke with someone about grief. It was after my dad died, and
Yes.
that was how I
Right.
Yeah,
grieved. I wrote a book,
it's cathartic.
but no
Yeah.
one
Right.
has read it.
Yeah.
No one, and no one ever will. It was for me.
Yeah.
Right.
That's why journaling, I think, is such a, say you don't want to put a book out, you know, because
Right.
hey, when you put something out, hey, let's be honest about it.
Ooh.
I don't care
go
how
over it.
good it is and how spot on you might be.
Right.
You're Teddy Roosevelt, you're putting yourself in the arena and you put yourself out there, there's going to be somebody out there that's going to, hey, on chapter 12, you
Right.
said, you know, it's like, whoa, okay, yeah, I'll rip out chapter 12, okay? but so you are putting yourself out there. You have to be willing to say, okay, you know,
Right.
most people are, what would you say, Cross? 97% of the people
Yeah.
are totally positive. They're great. They appreciate what you tried to do. So it's all good, but there's that one little sliver that you have to be aware that.
Well, I just kind of equate that to every day I wake up, and whatever I do, however my day goes, I always rationalize and say, somebody's gonna always have something to say.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But
and
it's
that's just
hard
what
not
it
to
is.
dwell on the negative. It's
Right.
hard not to take that one negative review, right?
Mhm.
Like even with the bookstore, I think our like Google rating is like a 4.8 or whatever,
Yeah.
but we got a 1 star, right? And they didn't leave any verbiage. They just gave us
Right.
a 1 star. And it's hard not to dwell on that.
It
Be like,
is.
You
who was this
do.
It
person?
is.
Did they actually come in the store? Did I help them?
Right.
And is that me? It's really hard not to dwell on it, even though you've got
We-
hundreds of 5 stars.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I
that
get
that is a true statement if you're an author, because
Yeah.
I was fortunate enough. I had all 5 stars except one person that wrote 1 star and no comment. And I thought, well, okay, you know. And I found out that the guy, I had spelled a high school that was 50 years ago. There was a letter missing in his, not the guy in the book, but a guy
Right.
that knew the guy in the book. Oh my God, he went berserk. I finally said, hey, give me your address. I'll send you the money back. Sorry, but it was one
Yeah.
letter.
That's crazy.
I stayed up all night rereading the book to see if I could find something else. So you can say, don't let it bother you,
Right.
It's
but
hard
it
not
does.
to.
Yeah, it really does.
I mean, even you know, in my life, there's only one basketball game that I remember, and that was the city championship when I only scored 6 points, and we lost, right? So there's been so many other achievements in life, but I don't think
I'm
about
going
those.
to a high school tournament basketball game tonight. My daughter's a cheer
Yes.
on the cheer squad for her basketball team for her school.
What-
I played basketball in high school,
Oh, okay.
and I remember the game. The only game that I have vivid memories of was the game where we're at the end of the game and I got fouled,
Mhm.
and I had to make my 2 foul shots.
Right.
Like I had to make them. And
Yes.
so every game, when there's that kind of an ending where
Yes.
they're fouling the
Yes.
other team and they're like, they got
It
to
takes
make
you
these 2
back.
shots, I feel for that kid. I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
Now, Denise, you gotta tell us. You gotta tell us.
I did make my
Did you make the foul shots?
You made
Okay.
both. You made both of them.
I made both my
There
foul
you go.
shots.
Now that's.
I had a coach that really pushed foul
Yeah,
shots.
yeah,
Like
right,
you
right,
had to
right.
make your foul. You had to make
That's a
those free
lot of
throws.
pressure, though.
And so we would practice. We'd have to make.
Right.
The whole team would be lined up, and we would have to shoot a free throw. And if I missed that free throw, my whole team had to run a suicide.
Right.
Did everybody run suicide?
Yes.
I assumed
Right.
everybody
yeah,
did.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Up and down the court. So
Right.
there was a lot of we had that in practice. We had the pressure. So.
Well, good job.
Yeah,
Ooh.
that's-
So, but every time a kid's in that situation, I'm like, oh,
Yes.
please. And every time I hate when people do the air ball chant, because I'm always like, oh, that poor kid. Like
You didn't mean to do it.
everybody misses.
Right.
Like, so I'm like adamantly sitting there without, I will not join in that.
You mentioned journaling. I think journaling is an important thing that people don't talk about. Say you're not an author, but I would disagree with you. I think you have a book in you. I
Right.
think every person has a book in them. I really do. But journaling, even if you don't want to put your thoughts out for people to buy, if you journal every day, there's something cathartic about that. I think you learn about yourself. I think that's a
Right.
good thing.
There's a really cool new book coming out soon. I say cool, I haven't actually seen the finished product, but I saw the stuff from the publisher, right? Where it's professionals guiding you in a journal. Like
Yeah.
it looks really cool. Like I'm
Yeah.
really excited about it. I tend to be the person who buys the journal and I get to like 5 or 6 pages and then I
Stops.
and then I forget about the journal and then I see it again and I've got probably a whole shelf of like
Yeah.
journals with 5
Yeah, you got to be disciplined. You got to be disciplined. You don't have to write a thesis each day,
Right,
but you got to
right,
write something. And Denise, how do people find Gathering Volumes?
So Gathering Volumes is at 196 East South Boundary in Perrysburg, right down the street from the junior high. We're also gatheringvolumes.com, and all of the books in store, new and used, as well as pretty much every book in print is available on the website, and it'll tell you how long. If we don't have it, it'll tell you how long it'll take to
And the
get it.
Teen Book Fest, I think Cross is going to be in that.
Yeah.
Yes.
So the Northwest Ohio Teen Book Festival is Saturday, March 15th at Rossford Junior Senior High. It's all day,
Looking
so
forward.
9:30 to 3:30. I suggest getting there at 9 because 9:30 is when the keynote starts. And it's obviously geared around teens, but lots of adults come. Lots of parents stick around. If you're a reader, definitely check it out. You can register if you go to nwoteenbookfest.com. You'll see the link to go register. And all day, free event, free lunch for everybody who attends. And we do bus sponsorships, which Taylor Keela helped us out with a bus sponsorship.
Steve stepped up and helped
Yeah,
with the bus.
so we have a
Yeah.
bus coming from Cincinnati. That's the furthest we've had
Wow,
a bus come
wow.
from. So thank you to Taylor Keela.
Well, thank you, Denise, and from Cross and I both, we enjoy your bookstore so much and appreciate all that you do in the community.
Thank you so much.
All right. Tom Cole, the coach for Steve Taylor Community Star.